The PO sign not a part of these things.
Did you hear me when I said the recording? Can you hear everything you said? If you like to have a calendar. I like your shirt. It's a nice shirt.
Good morning, Mr. Goodrich. Good afternoon, Mr. Goodrich. How are you?
Good afternoon, Judge. Judge, I wanted to introduce you to our new attorney at our office here, John Lee. He's kind of job shadowing me today, so he'll just be here in an observational role here.
All right, nice to meet you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Your Honor. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, I get why everybody's delayed. Still, there we go. All right, we'll arraign Mr. Johnson first. All right, we're on the record in docket 2202744. And sir, you are Robert Johnson?
Yes, sir.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record.
Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office, here to represent Mr. Johnson, his arraignment this afternoon.
All right, Mr. Johnson, this is the time set for arraignment. I'm going to read you the charges that have been alleged against you. And then I'm going to read you some rights that you have in this felony file. All right, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
All right, the complaint felony reads as following: that on or about October 11th, 2022, at the offense location of 201 East Shiawassee, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that yourself did in count one, make an assault upon Seamus McCann with intent to do great bodily harm, less than the crime of murder, contrary to the law of the State of Michigan, that being MCL 750.84. That's a felony, 10 years and or $5,000. DNA to be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. As to counts two, did assault with a dangerous weapon, did make an assault upon Lisa Trine with a dangerous weapon, to wit a knife, but without intending to commit the crime of murder and inflict great bodily harm less than the crime of murder, contrary to the law of the State of Michigan, that being MCL 750.82, that being a felony, 4 years and or $2,000. DNA to be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Take notice, the court shall order law enforcement to collect a DNA identification profiling sample before sentencing or disposition if not taken at arrest. Sir, do you understand the charges that have been alleged against you?
Yes, sir.
All right. In these charges, you have certain rights, and I'll cover those rights in this felony case. You have the right to have a trial. You have the right to be told and arraigned, as you are today, of the consequences of these charges. One is a felony 10 years, as indicated. The other one's a felony of 4 years. You'll have the right to trial. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses against you appear and be questioned by your counsel. You, of course, are represented by Mr. Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office today. Do you plan to seek additional representation from the Public Defender's Office?
Are you talking about getting another attorney, or?
Yeah, in future hearings, will you seek to be represented by the Public Defender's Office in this case, in this file?
You're just saying just getting not I won't have my own personal attorney, but I would like to have
Okay.
a representative.
In your honor, Mr. Johnson did fill out a form this morning to request
All right.
the Public
All right.
Defender's Office.
So I'll indicate a yes for public defender in the ROA. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses against you appear and to question those witnesses. You have the right for the court to order any witnesses that you appear at trial to remain, and you also have the right to remain silent during trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you in a court of law, and you have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. Do you understand your trial rights in this case, Mr. Johnson?
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
No, I don't, yeah. What's the
Okay,
trial?
those are the rights you have at trial on these files. On these files. Are any of those rights you don't understand, sir?
Yeah, whatever the thing that you said about the assault of Lisa or somebody, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know anything about the facts of the case, sir. I'm just simply arraigning you on the allegations. They're felony allegations, and you have a series of rights in regards to those felonies, okay?
okay, but when do I?
Okay.
what did it
You
give
also
me-
have the right. You also have the right to a probable cause hearing in this case. A probable cause hearing would take place within 21 days of this arraignment. It has been set for a probable cause conference has been set for October 21st, 2022 at 9 a.m. And a preliminary examination has been set for October 28th, 2022 at 9 a.m. Preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the individual who's committed that crime. Do you have a current address for the court's file, Mr. Johnson?
I was at the outreach shelter right there on Cedar.
All right. So it would be a shelter.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have a phone number, sir, that for the clerk for the court's file?
Yep, 517
517
214
444 214. All right, 214
1299.
1299. Sir, are you on probation or parole? Did you say parole, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you employed at this time?
No, sir.
All right. I'll automatically enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this hearing. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Johnson, as he stated, he is on parole. He had a prior parole warrant for his arrest. He's currently being held on that matter. We would ask the court at this time to consider a PR bond on the underlying file here, not for the purpose of him being released, but for the purpose of him being taken by MDOC so that he can begin proceedings on that matter as well.
I understand that the request, Mr. Goodrich, if your client is able, if Mr. Johnson is able to make bond, the following will be ordered by the court in relation to bond. He is to use no alcohol or drugs, no assaultive behavior, no out-of-state travel, no contact with the victim in this case, who is Seamus McCann. And that's 1,500 feet from, what's the name of the city? Oh, there's no contact with Elisa Trine. Within 1,500 feet of work, school, or where they live. No possession of firearms. And report to pretrial services within 48 hours of release. There's a PA 53 of no contact with Seamus McCann. I'll go ahead and put Lisa Trine on there too. Based on the record that I see in this case for Mr. Johnson, there's at least one high level, three high level felonies dating back to 94, a domestic assault second. And a felony habitual third offense that was pled guilty to, which would be the unarmed robbery. So quite an extensive criminal history here. I'll set bond at 10,000, 10%. Anything else for the record, Mr. Goodrich?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. That's all set on this file 22-02744. We'll do Mr. Patterson next.
There's Mr. Patterson.
I'm calling to the record docket 22-02740. Sir, you are Scott T. Patterson?
Yes.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record?
Is Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Mr. Patterson at his arraignment this afternoon.
Mr. Patterson, I'm going to read the allegations that have been made against you in this misdemeanor complaint, and then I'll indicate some rights you have in this file. It is alleged that on or about October 11, 2022, at the offense location of 1054 North Cedar Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, that yourself, Scott Thomas Patterson, did make an assault or an assault and battery upon Bethany Burtis, an individual with whom he had a dating relationship, contrary to MCL 750.81 parents 2. Restitution may be ordered in this case if there's damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual pursuant to 780.811. This is a misdemeanor, 93 days and or $500. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the nature of the charges that have been brought against you, sir?
Yes.
You have certain rights in this case, this misdemeanor case, that I'll indicate for the record. For this 93-day misdemeanor, you have the right to a trial. You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses against you appear at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses against you. You are today represented by Luke Goodrich, who is present for this arraignment purposes only. Do you plan to seek representation from the Public Defender's Office in future hearings concerning this file?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'll indicate yes on the ROA in regards to the public defender. Sir, you have the right to question any witnesses brought against you by your counsel. You have the right for the court to order any witnesses the defendant has for the defense to appear at trial. You have the right to remain silent during the trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you. And you have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. I have a next pretrial date. Do you understand these rights, sir?
Yes.
You have the right, your next pretrial is set for October 31st, 2022 in front of myself. Do you have a current address for the court's file?
Yeah, 1054 North Cedar Street, I think.
All right. Well, is that location also the residence of Bethany Burtis?
No.
All right. So 1054 North Cedar Street. It's Lansing, Michigan. 48912. Do you have a phone number that the court can contact you at?
Yes.
And what number is that, sir?
517-455-5473.
5473?
517-455-5473.
Thank you. Are you on probation or parole?
No, sir.
Are you employed at this time?
No, sir.
For purposes of this arraignment, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Patterson has lived in this area about 3 years at this point. He informed me that he had a friend he thought he could stay with while this case was pending. The alleged victim in this case apparently had moved into his residence a week ago, so I believe she's staying there. So he's got a friend he can stay with.
She's still got her own place.
Okay, well, we'll see if the key, sir, is that you can't go to the same place she's living at, wherever that may be. We would ask the court, considering Mr. Patterson does not have a real recent criminal history, to grant him a PR bond in this matter. We would also ask the court to consider allowing him to make one trip to the property with a peace officer to get any necessary items, as that was his residence, in order to just have materials to live on while the case is pending, if she is still residing at that location.
Thank you, Mr. Goodrich. If you're able to make bond, I'm going to order the following bond conditions. No use of alcohol or drugs. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. No contact directly or indirectly with the victim in this case. The victim in this case is Bethany Burtis. And that's no contact within 1,500 feet of where they live, work, or go to school. So the onus is to avoid any contact, direct or indirect, with Ms. Burtis in this file. No possession of a firearm. I do have at this, I don't know where Ms. Burtis' address is, but if it's the same address and there appears that you need to get some type of items, I would permit you to go there one time with a peace officer to get items at the address. Allowed to go with law enforcement to address to get items, personal items. That's a one-time only. In regards to bond, if you're able to make bond in this case, the last I have is 2022, but then I have a Florida CCH. What's the date of birth here? 67. Mr. Patterson, do you have a Florida CCH?
Well, what's a CCH?
Do you have a criminal history stemming from Florida?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's what I thought. Yeah, I have dating back to at least 2 domestics. I'll also order GPS tether in regards to Miss Burtis. Because of the nature of the offense, which is a domestic assault and some domestic assault priors, we'll put bond at 5,000, 10%. Anything else for the record, Mr. Goodrich, on 2202740?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, that's all for the record. And Mr. Patterson?
We're all done?
Yep. You're all set. I'll split it to you.
We have a Mr. Walker, a Dayan Walker.
How you doing?
All right, sir. You are Dayan A. Walker.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Goodrich, your appearance for the record.
This is Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office, here to represent Mr. Walker at his arraignment this afternoon.
All right, and this is a felony arraignment. And sir, I'm going to read you the charges that have been alleged against you, and then I'll read you some rights in regards to this matter, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, it is alleged that on or about July 4th of 2022, at the offense location of 910 East Jolly Road, Apartment 5, City of Lansing, Ingham County, that yourself, Dayan Amari Walker, did in count 1, willful and without authority take possession of and drive or take away, or did assist in or was a party to such taking possession, driving or taking away of a motor vehicle, to it a 2013 Dodge Avenger belonging to another, to it Mia Edmond, I should say, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being 750.413. It's a felony, 5 years. Secretary of State may suspend your driver's license for 1 year pursuant to MCL 257.319, parents 2, parents B. And court shall order law enforcement to collect a DNA identification profiling sample before sentencing or disposition, if not taken at arrest. Do you understand the nature of the allegations brought against you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. You have certain rights in this felony file, and I'll go over those rights with you. You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses against you appear at trial and to question those witnesses against you. You have the right to have witnesses ordered by the court in order for your defense. You today are represented by Public Defender Luke Goodrich for purposes of the arraignment. Do you plan to seek future representation from the Public Defender's Office in hearings?
Yes.
All right. I'll indicate yes to Public Defender for the ROA. You have the right to remain silent during trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you, and you have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. You understand your trial rights in this, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. You also have the right to preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date, the date you're being arraigned. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. Right now, you're set for probable cause conference on October 20th, 2022 at 8:30 in front of Judge Simmons. You also have a preliminary examination date the following week, October 27th, 2022 at 8:30 in front of Judge Simmons. Sir, do you have an address for the court file?
Yes, 613 Richard Avenue.
613 Richard Avenue.
Yes, sir.
That's Lansing. And what's the zip code?
48917.
48917. Thank you. Do you have a phone that you can be reached at?
Yes, sir.
What's
517,
that number?
517, 214,
All right.
7703.
7703. Are you on probation or parole?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you employed?
Yes.
Where are you employed at?
I work for Laser Ship. It's a warehouse.
And where's that located, sir, if you know?
It's right next to the state police station across the street from QD, you know, in Eaton County.
All right.
Yeah, it's right like next to that state police station.
The court will automatically enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Walker has had a couple of criminal matters. However, all of those were resolved because he's got a good history of showing up to court and taking care of his business when he's been accused of something. This is not an assault of crime in any way here. Obviously, the allegations he drove away a car. He's been working full-time. He told me he's working 6 days a week at this Laser Ship. Like I said, out by Diamonddale there. He's living with his mother at this point. So we would ask the court to consider a PR bond on this file. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. If you're able to make arraignment, I will make bond. I will set the following bond conditions. I'm going to order GPS to be ordered. And I believe that would be with the person. So there would be no contact with Tamia Edmond.
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes.
She's 8 months pregnant. Our baby could be here any minute. We're on good terms.
Yeah, you're gonna as a part of pretrial, stay away from her for right now, okay?
So even if my baby comes.
Yeah, even if your baby comes, right now she's the victim in this stolen car case. So just to keep things real clean, stay away from her for right now, okay? All right, the no assaultive behavior. No use of alcohol or drugs. No out-of-state travel. No contact, once again, with Tamia Edmond. And that's direct or indirect. That might change, sir, but right now, just to keep you off of any type of bench warrant status or in violation of PA 53 or no contact order, let's keep it that way. No possession of a firearm. I have a limited criminal history in a non-violent case. However, it does stem from what looks like it could be a domestic situation, although it doesn't read that way. There's certainly someone called and reported that you took the car. I'm going to set bond at PR bond of 500 cash, but that is a PR bond on a nonviolent offense.
May I get an understanding of that?
Say it again, sir. So you are PR bonded today.
Oh, so it's not 500.
No, it's not. The 500 would only be for non-appearance. You are PR bonded today, okay?
Okay, thank you.
But at this point in time, have no contact with the individual until we can figure out what's going on here, okay? So you have a no contact order with Ms. Tamia Edmond, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Goodrich, on 22-02268?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. That's all for all the record in this file.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Is Mr. Zane, is that iPhone here on?
Good question.
There's Mr. Zane. Is that here on Mr. Terry?
Hang on till he gets back. Go sit down.
Mr. Zane, are you here on the Terry matter?
Yes, Your Honor, that's accurate here on the Terry matter, appearing for arraignment.
All right, let's go ahead and arraign that while we have you here on that misdemeanor. You're here for the Terry arraignment, that's correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Michael Terry.
So we're on the record in docket 22-02743. Sir, you are Michael Terry?
Yes.
All right, you can hear me all right, Mr. Terry?
Yes.
All right, counsel, your appearance for the record?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Attorney Edward Zaney, P71923, appearing for Mr. Terry via Zoom with consent.
And I've noted your presence here for the file, Mr. Zaney.
Thank you.
Mr. Terry, this is the time set for an arraignment in this matter. I'm going to read the allegations of the misdemeanor that's been brought against you, and then some rights you have in this case. So, sir, it is alleged in the complaint misdemeanor that on October 11, 2022, at the offense location of 622 West Holmes Road, City of Lansing, Ingham County, that yourself, Michael Thomas Terry, did make an assault and battery upon Tracy Terry, a resident or former resident of your household or your spouse, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan. That's 750.81 parents 2. There could be restitution ordered. This offense results in damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual. There could be restitution ordered pursuant to 780.811A. This is a misdemeanor, 93 days and or $500. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the nature of the allegations that have been made against you, sir?
Yes.
All right. You have the right to some misdemeanor rights in this misdemeanor file, and I'll go over those for you. You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses against you appear at trial. You have the right to question the witnesses against you. You, of course, are represented by Edward Zaney, who is here present at the arraignment. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses the defendant has for the defense to appear at trial. You have the right to remain silent during the trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you. And you have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. Do you understand your rights in this misdemeanor case, sir?
Yes.
Your next hearing is set for pretrial on October 25th, 2022 at 10 a.m. in front of Judge Simmons. Do you have a current address for the court's file concerning a good address to send things to?
Other than my home?
Other than your home, if the victim in the case, the alleged victim, Tracy Terry, is staying at 622 West Holmes Road, you're going to need a different address to get your mail.
1427 North Martin Luther King.
1427 North Martin Luther King.
489
That's Lansing, Michigan. Do you have a phone number, sir?
252 474
252.
474. You want me to start again?
All right. 252
474
474
3818.
3818. Are you on probation or parole?
No.
Are you employed?
Yes.
Where are you employed, sir?
More or less self-employed. I work for my father.
All right. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Mr. Zaney, would you like to be heard on bond?
I would thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity. I would indicate to the court, I think this is a matter that starts out with the presumption of a PR bond pursuant to court rule, understanding that a PA 53 is appropriate and required. And I think that's the best mechanism to protect society and the accuser in this case. I would note strong ties to the community, been a resident of Macomb County all of his life, family ties, and retained counsel appearing on his behalf here today. I'd ask that you enter a PR bond.
All right. I don't have any criminal record in this matter, Mr. Zaney. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, Your Honor. Yes.
Yeah, I don't see, if your client's able to make bond, I'll set the following bond conditions. GPS tether is to be ordered in relation to the no contact. Tracy Terry.
Is it within my legal recourse to shut the utilities off at my home?
We'll talk about that, sir. You and I will talk about those questions. Let's deal with that at the appropriate time, okay? It's not a matter before the court.
1,500 feet from where Miss Terry lives, works, or goes to school. No assaultive behavior. No use of alcohol or drugs without prescription. No out-of-state travel. No contact with the victim, Tracy Terry, directly or indirectly. No possession of a firearm. I do have a limited, I have no criminal history, and I also have a presumption of a PR bond, although this is a domestic assault crime. But I will set the PR bond at PR bond $1,000. Anything else for the record, Mr. Zaney?
Nothing. Thank you for your time today, Your Honor. Mr.
All
Terry will
right,
be in.
thank you.
Mr. Terry will be in touch.
All right. All right. That's all for the record in docket 22-02743. All right. I guess we'll do Miss Ramona Hunter next.
All the way up to two.
I'm going to call the case of docket 22-01857. Ma'am, you are Ramona Hunter?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record?
Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Ms. Hunter on her arraignment this afternoon.
Thank you. And it's my understanding that this is a first-time arraignment on a case, misdemeanor case. So, Ms. Hunter, I'm gonna explain to you the allegations have been made against you concerning this misdemeanor complaint, and then some
Yes.
rights you have in the file. So, it is alleged that on March 21st, 2022, at 505 Townsend Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, that yourself, Ramona LaShawn Hunter, did in count one willfully and maliciously destroy or injure a building or its appurtenances located at 505 Townsend Street, Lansing, Michigan, that belonged to Porter Apartments, and the amount of destruction or injury was less than $200, contrary to the law state of Michigan, that being 750.380 parents 5. It's a misdemeanor, 93 days and or $500, or 3 times the amount of destruction or injury, whichever is greater. Do you understand the complaint that's been alleged against you, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have certain rights in this misdemeanor complaint, and I'll go over those with you. You You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have the witnesses against you appear at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses brought against you. You, of course, are represented by Public Defender Luke Goodrich for purposes of this arraignment. Do you plan on seeking further representation from the Public Defender's Office?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll make that indication for the court file. Ma'am, you have the right to have the court order any witnesses that may come to defense to appear at trial. You have the right to remain silent during the trial. You have the right not to have the silent used against you, and you have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. Do you understand all these trial rights, ma'am, in this misdemeanor case?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, your next hearing will be a pre-trial on October 25th, 2022 in front of Judge Simmons.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a current address for the court file?
Yes, I do. It's 1023
Okay,
South Pennsylvania Avenue. Apartment
all right,
number
that's
1.
apartment number 1,
Yes.
and that's Lansing.
Yes, that's here in Lansing. I live here in Lansing. That's area code, zip code 48912.
All right, do you have a phone number, ma'am?
Yes, I do. It's area code 313-207-9130. I have a Detroit area code, but I do reside here in Lansing.
All right, are you on probation or parole?
No, sir, I'm not.
Are you employed?
Yes, I am. I work at Clarion Point Hotel. And then I also have an interview today at Little Caesars on Jolly and Cedar.
Okay, what's the hotel again, ma'am?
Clarion Point Hotel here in Lansing.
Okay. Okay, I'll enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Ms. Hunter does have a little bit of criminal history. I know she has a retail fraud, but I don't believe she has any assaults on her record when I was speaking with her. She's lived in the Lansing area for 5 years at this point. Again, as she stated, she's got a job at the Clarion Point Hotel, working there. This allegation is already 7 months old at this point. There have been no allegations of anything since this time. It's non-assaultive. Like I said, they're alleging some damage to an apartment or something along those lines. So taking all of that into consideration, we would ask the court to grant a PR bond for Ms. Hunter in this matter.
All right, if Ms. Hunter is able to make bond, there will be certain requirements that the court will set as a condition of bond. One is no assaultive behavior,
Yes, sir.
no alcohol or drugs without prescription, no out-of-state travel, no contact. I'm going to indicate no contact with Porter Apartments. That's direct or indirect.
Yes.
No possession of a firearm. I do have some criminal history here. I have a misdemeanor, 2010 misdemeanor. It looks like a use of controlled substance misdemeanor. There is a felonious assault out of 2013. That's an older case, but that is a guilty plea. There's also a tampering out of 2015. And then some assorted misdemeanors. I'm going to set a low 10% bond of $1,000, 10%. Anything else for the record, Mr. Goodrich?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So you're all set, Miss Hunter. Your next date will be October 25th in front of Judge Simmons.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So let's arraign Mr. Barnes next, Jonathan Barnes. Okay, I'll first call docket 22-02004. Sir, you are Jonathan T. Barnes?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Goodrich, your appearance for the record?
This is Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office, here to represent Mr. Barnes at his arraignment this afternoon.
All right, this is the time set for arraignment. This is on a fail to appear on a malicious destruction of property. Let me find the. So this is the one-year misdemeanor fail to appear malicious destruction of property. Is you missed this was initially set for a fail to appear at a sentencing. So your next date is to be sentenced in front of Judge Simmons on October 18th, 2022 at 8:30. That's the nature of this arraignment. You're to be sentenced on the one-year misdemeanor in which you pled guilty to. It appears that you pled guilty on August 30th, 2022, and then you failed to appear for sentencing on October 11th, 2022. Do you understand the nature of the bench warrant issued in this case, Mr. Pruitt? I'm sorry, Mr. Barnes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll update. So your next sentence is October 18th, 2022 in front of Judge Simmons. I just want to look at, do you have a current address update?
It's the same address, where I receive mail and community mental health.
All right, and that same number is good too, 517-346-8265?
No, it's 8200.
So 517-346-8200.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on? I have a note here from the judge on the file, but I'll listen to any argument you have on bond.
Your Honor, I just wanted to clarify, does he have, it was my understanding he had 2 misdemeanor files that he missed.
He does. He has a second file for a fail to appear at sentencing on 22-01931 in front of Judge Simmons. Also for a fail to appear at the previous sentencing, and that has been set at the same time, October 18th, 2022 at 8:30.
Okay.
So there's 2 fail to appears at sentencing that he's been arraigned on today.
Okay, all right, Your Honor, I would just like to point out to the court that Mr. Barnes had been in jail for a while. He did a plea in front of Judge Aquilina in the circuit court on October 4th. He got released at that point, and I think he kind of lost track of dates because, like I said, he got new dates from the circuit court case, and I think he lost track of these dates that were set back in August on the misdemeanor case. We would ask that he have one more opportunity while out to turn himself into the court. He was only out, I don't know if it was about 12, 15 hours before getting picked up after missing court yesterday. Thank you.
11. And yesterday, I didn't even know it was the 11th. I thought it was the 8th. I thought Thursday was the 11th because I was trying to keep track of the time. So keep track of the date.
Judge Simmons has put down 2 bond conditions, and I'll indicate them both for the record. This is on one file, it's his second fail to appear. He failed to appear on August 2nd, and then he failed to appear on October 11th. And then on October 11th, it combined the other file. So the request to Judge Simmons on her fail to appear on 22-02004 is a $500 cash surety bond that she requested. So I have no reason to change that bond. And then on the second file, in which there's 2 fail to appears, Judge Simmons requested a remand. So the client will be remanded until he's got the first date he has on that file will be October 18th, 2022, where he can readdress bond. But she did have a remand on that file. Okay. So that's all for the record in both these cases, 22-01931 and 22-02004.
Okay, thank you, Honor. And Mr. Barnes, just so you understand, they'll be addressed in 6 days from now.
Let me sign some paperwork and I'll. Yeah. All right, we'll do Destiny Torrance.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that this matter is just a collections issue. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I will.
All right. So we're on the record in this docket, Ms. Torrance, it's 19L2477963 and 19-03193. It appears that, and ma'am, you are Destiny Torrance?
Yes, sir.
All right. And it appears that this is a collections issue you were picked on with, that there's an outstanding balance of $315.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, so that would be added to your outstanding balance. So yeah, so it'll be added, so that'll be added to your $1,361 file, and I'll refer them both to collections.
Okay.
And then I'll just supplement your current collections file with this $315,
Okay.
and you'll be all set.
Okay, thank you. So I
Oh,
can,
you do have to report within 48 hours to set up a payment plan or something to collections, okay?
okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. We'll do Vincent Flores next. All right, we're on the record in docket 2202741. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Vincent Flores. Will the parties please introduce themselves? Well, sir, you are Vincent Flores?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Goodrich, your appearance for the record?
This is Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office, here to represent Mr. Flores at his arraignment on these matters.
Thank you. Mr. Flores, this is a time set for arraignment. I'm going to indicate the nature of the crimes that have been alleged against you and some of the rights you have in this misdemeanor file. It is alleged that on October 11th, 2022, at 724 North Pennsylvania Avenue, Apartment 4, City of Lansing, Ingham County, that yourself, Vincent Flores, did make an assault or an assault and battery upon the following person, Brad Lathrop, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being 750.81 parents 1. There could be restitution in this file. This offense resulted in a damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual. Restitution may be ordered. This is a misdemeanor, 93 days and or $500. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the nature of the charges that have been brought against you, sir?
Yes.
Okay, you have certain rights in this misdemeanor file, and I'll cover those rights with you. You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have the witnesses against you appear at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses brought against you. Of course, you are represented by Public Defender Luke Goodrich today. Do you plan to seek further representation from the Public Defender's Office?
Yes.
All right. I'll indicate yes for the file. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses that you may have for your defense. You have the right to remain silent during the trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you. And you have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. Do you understand your rights in this misdemeanor file, sir?
Yes, sir.
Your next pre-trial date will be October 25th, 2022, in front of Judge Simmons at 9:30. Do you have a current address for the court file?
What's that?
Do you have a current address for the court file so the court can send you mail?
Yes, I can, you can send it to my girlfriend's house, 831 North Capitol Avenue.
Okay, 831 North Capitol.
Yes,
You will have a okay, Ms. Girlfriend, 831 North Capitol.
yes.
And what's the zip code there, sir?
48901 or 06.
06, okay. Do you have a phone that we can, a phone number for the file?
My mother's 517-624-99 or 99, what is it? 9986.
So 517-624-9186?
9986.
9986, thank you.
Yes.
Are you on probation or parole?
No, sir.
Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
Where are you employed?
KFC on West Saginaw. I have to work at 4 o'clock today.
I'm gonna automatically enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Flores does have some criminal history. He told me he hasn't been in any in the last few years. He has lived in this area his whole life. He did get a job working at KFC recently. I know he has one matter. He did have one matter pending, but I don't think but there hasn't been any type of conviction in that yet. We would ask the court to consider probably like a 10% bond or maybe even a PR bond in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if you're able to make bond, sir, I'm going to set the following bond conditions. There's no use of drugs or alcohol without prescription. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. No contact with the victim, Brad Lathrop.
I understand.
No possession of a firearm. There is a criminal history here, and then there is a no contact order. So that's no contact 1,500 feet or where victim lives, works, or goes to school in regards to this matter. There's also one of 3 files concerning Mr. Flores today. Of course, this is an arraignment on a new charge. I'm going to set bond at $1,000, 10%.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Sir.
You can, but not in regards. I wouldn't say anything in regards to the facts of the case.
Okay, I was just gonna ask, I get paid tonight at 12 and I gotta go to work today at 4. Is there any way I can get like a GPS tether to prove to you that I can do this? Because I mean, I don't have any money right now, but I don't want to lose my job also because I have a son to take care of and child support to pay. So if you just give me a chance on GPS tether, I'll pay for the tether and for the restitutions or anything that's applied to these cases of mine. Can you just give me a chance, please? I just got this job and I've been looking for this job for the last few months and I just finally landed one and I don't want to lose it. I
Well,
just want to.
Mr. Flores, this is the least of your problems, this file, right now. So I think you'll see what I mean when we go to you've got 2 other files on fail to appear. And those fail to appear files, the judge who requested the bench warrant was much more aggressive in regards to the outstanding warrant. So let's go ahead and address those while we're here. We're on the record in docket 22-00828, which is a fail to appear. It's a third fail to appear. There was an April 5th, 2022 fail to appear, and then there was a fail to appear in regards to 2 pretrials in front of Judge Simmons. These were set for the initial charge, which was assault and battery. And so you were bench warranted once, made a pretrial, came and bench warranted again at a second pretrial that you failed to appear. And that was on the assault and battery. Sir, Judge, well, I'll let Mr. Goodrich, do you have anything any argument you want to make in regards to file 22-00828? You also have a fail to appear on file 22-01987, which is a fail to appear on a possession of methamphetamine case. That was also, you might have to be arraigned on that. You might have failed to appear for your arraignment on that one.
Yeah, I was incarcerated too when I seen Judge Simmons.
Okay, Your Honor, I just wanted to inform the court. I believe he did have a term in jail in late July, which may have been why he missed one of those hearings. He does, and he's never been arraigned on the felony.
On the methamphetamine?
Right.
All right. Well, I'm going to follow the recommendation as far as the August 8th failed to appear. So Mr. Flores is remanded on that file till pretrial on October 25th, 2022. And then it appears that he should be arraigned on the current file, the possession of methamphetamine file. So let's go ahead and do that. Once again, on docket 22-01987, I have the defendant Vincent Flores in front of me. Counselor, are you appearing for the record on this file also?
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah.
All right. The charges on this file that you've never been arraigned on are alleged that on or about April 10th, 2022, at the vicinity of Larch and Oakland in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, that you did knowingly or intentionally possess methamphetamine contrary to the law of the state of Michigan. That's MCL 333.7403, parents 2, parents B, parents I. That's a felony 10 years and or $15,000. Court shall order law enforcement to collect a DNA identification profiling sample before sentence or disposition. Do you understand the nature of that charge against you, Mr. Flores?
Yes, sir.
You have certain felony rights in this felony matter. First of all, maximum penalty for the felony is 10 years and or $15,000. You have the right to be tried by a jury, to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty, to have questions, to question the witnesses brought against you, to have the court order any witnesses that you may have for your defense appear at trial. You, of course, are represented by Mr. Goodrich, and for purposes of this arraignment, do you plan to seek the public defender's representation in additional future hearings?
Yes.
All right. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to not have that silence used against you in a court of law. You have the right to testify at trial if you want to testify at trial. You also have the right to have a preliminary examination within 21 days of today's arraignment. That is a probable cause hearing, which the prosecutor or the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and probable cause evidence of the identity of the person who committed that crime. Your probable cause conference on this file is set for October 20th, 2022 in front of Judge Simmons at 8:30. Then there's a preliminary examination on October 27th, 2022 at 8:30 in front of Judge Simmons. I will have the address and the current address and phone number crossed over to this file along with probation and parole. will enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor, just addressing bond on this matter. Clearly, he's going to remain in jail until at least October 25th, based on the previous case. We would ask the court to consider a 10% bond in this matter. He'll have already gotten his PCC completed at that time, and the preliminary exam will be, 2 days away at that point. So we would just ask that a 10% bond be ordered so that, he could put the money together and possibly post at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. If you're able to make bond, there'll be the following conditions of bond: no use of alcohol or drugs, no assaultive behavior, no out-of-state travel, no purchasing of firearms. There is a remand that Mr. Goodrich has indicated in the file. I'm going to set bond based on really the pending cases, but you also have somewhat of misdemeanor. You have a MDOP. You have an R&O, resisting and instructing, which appears to be out of 2014. Looks to be a flee and elude, a tampering with an electronic device. So I'm going to set bond at the 10%. It'll be $4,010. If you are able to make bond and released, you should report to pretrial services within 48 hours.
Your Honor, can I say something?
You can say anything in regards, but I'd leave out the facts of the case at this point.
Okay, is there any way I can get like a 10%? Because I get a check and it's 200, but that's all I get, and I don't have any other assistance from anyone. And I don't want to lose my job, really. I really don't want to lose my job. And I only work part-time, and I get put on full times this Sunday. But I only work part-time, so I only get half the pay. And my checks only be like $225 every 2 weeks.
But sir, I've said bond in this that I think is appropriate. I think the remand is probably the bigger issue at this time because you're remanded. So you can make the same argument to Judge Simmons in a week, all right? That's all for the record in this file.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, this is, which is this? Arraigned on FT on the.
Yeah.
On the.
Where's the green light?
Up there.
Oh.
All right, we'll do a Mr. Tate next.
Okay.
All right, we're on the record in docket 22-02665. That's People of the State of Michigan versus Raheem Tate. Sir, you are Raheem Tate?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Mr. Goodrich, your appearance for the record?
Yes, Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office, here to represent Mr. Tate at his arraignment only.
All right. when on these charges, I'm going to read to you the counts that have been alleged against you, Mr. Tate, in the complaint felony, and then I'm going to read you some rights you have in regards to these charges. It is alleged that on August 7th, 2022, at 900 Long Boulevard near apartment 428 in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, that yourself, Raheem Tate, it's alleged that in count 1, did make an assault upon Noah Buzzo with the intent to commit the crime of murder, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being 750.83. This is a felony, life or any number of years. DNA to be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. And in the alternative to count 1, there's a count 2 of assault with a dangerous weapon. It alleges that did make an assault upon Noah Buzzo with a dangerous weapon, to wit a pistol, but without intending to commit the crime of murder or to inflict great bodily harm less than the crime of murder, contrary to MCL 750.82, that being a felony, 4 years and or $2,000. DNA to be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. And then in count 3, in regards to weapons, firearms, and possession by a felon, did possess or use a firearm when ineligible to do so because he or she has been convicted of home invasion 2nd degree, a specified felony, and the requirements for regaining eligibility had not been met, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being MCL 750.224F. That's a felony, 5 years and or $5,000, mandatory forfeiture or weapon or device. Mandatory of the forfeiture of weapon may be ordered. Do you understand the nature of the charges that have been brought against you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. In these charges, you have the following rights in this felony. You're looking at a life offense, a 4-year and a 5-year. If a plea is so, you have the right to trial by jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses against you brought in a peer trial. You have the right to question those witnesses against you. You, of course, are represented by Public Defender Luke Goodrich for purposes of this arraignment. Do you plan to seek additional representation from the Public Defender's Office?
From the Public Defender's Office, no. I'm working on finding me a paid attorney now.
All right. So you'll be retaining your own counsel?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that your understanding, Mr. Goodrich?
Yes, Your Honor. It's my understanding he has
All right.
contacted Ed Christensen, but no, he hasn't hired him yet.
All right. I'll make that note in the file. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses that you have for your defense. You have the right to remain silent during trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you. And you have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. Do you understand your trial rights in this file, Mr. Tate?
Yes, sir.
You also have the right to preliminary examination within 21 days of today's arraignment. A probable cause or preliminary examination is a hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You, of course, can be represented, or you will retain an attorney to represent you at that hearing. At this time, I have a probable cause conference. A PCC is set for October 21st, 2022 at 9 a.m. in front of myself, Judge Flores. And then I have a preliminary examination. The actual hearing is set for October 28th, 2022 at 9 a.m. in front of myself. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you have an address for the court's file?
17360 Freeland Street, Detroit, Michigan, 48235.
How do you spell that street again, sir?
FREELAND.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a phone number?
Yes, sir. 517-483-3668.
Are you on probation or parole?
No, sir.
Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
Where are you employed at?
Reflection Auto Spa on MLK, and I also help one of my friends who own a business paint the Lansing School District, the schools that's been going on. I've been helping like pick up stuff like that.
Okay. I will automatically enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, as Mr. Tate stated, he's already made some efforts to contact an attorney in this case. He's certainly taking the matter seriously. He's lived in Michigan his entire life. He does go back and forth between Detroit and Lansing. He has a number of children and other connections to the Lansing area. So he has, even without a case pending, he frequently is in the Lansing area. He's been doing work with these different types of odd jobs here and there to make a living. I know his goal is to be able to run his own food truck and get that going. I know he had I think it was the home invasion a few years back, I'm sorry, I may have mixed up my case, but I think, but he's had the last few years of not having new charges. So we would ask for a reasonable bond in this matter, maybe like a higher 10% bond or a lower cash or surety bond. And he has also informed me he's willing to do tether if the court feels that is necessary.
All right, if Mr. Tate is able to make bond, the following conditions will be ordered. There's GPS to be ordered. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. No contact with the victim in this case. I have the victim as a Noah Buzzo. That would be direct or indirect. 1,500 feet from his place of work, where he lives or school. So 1,500 feet from him. No firearms. And a report to pretrial services within 48 hours if released. I do have we have a no contact order, and then I have some serious allegations in regards to a life offense, a 4-year and a 5-year, and a criminal history of at least 1 possession of methamphetamine, 1 home invasion, and 1 controlled substance on essentially a life offense. So the nature of the allegations in the criminal history is set for the purposes for the bond. Bond is set at 100,000, 10%. Oh, there is a collection files too. So I will refer for the purposes of the collections file, which is 1904296. I'll just refer the whole matter to collections at this point. And no warrant will be issued. So that's all for the record in the collections file 1904296. And then that's all for the new charges that were just arraigned on 22026665. Anything else for the record, Mr. Goodrich?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's all for the record on those 2 files.
Thank you, sir.
We have a Miss Thibodeau, and it just looks like collections matters.
Yes.
Mr. Goodrich, is that right?
That's what I found this morning, Your Honor.
All right. So, ma'am, you are Kaylee Thibodeau?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to call to the record docket 18-001756. And then there is a collections file of 22L2717641. The purposes for the warrant was a balance due collection on a warrant issued by Judge Buchanan for a failure to comply with collections, and then there was balance owed, and then it looks like it was for $508, and then it looks like there was another balance due on a pedestrian ticket. Does that sound right? Of an additional $180?
Yep,
All
I
right,
can
ma'am,
pay-
I'm gonna add all those together and refer to collections, okay?
okay,
All right, so you're to report to collections within 48 hours of today, so that you can start getting a payment plan and avoid being picked up on any type of show cause for non-payment, all right?
okay,
All right, so I'm gonna add these I'll add these together to the collections, to refer to collections on both of these,
okay. All right,
and you should be all set, okay?
all right, thank you.
Thank you. This is the ticket that was lost. And then I think this is the original collection. All right, so I have Mr. Pruitt left, but it appears that he's no longer with us, correct?
Yes, sir. He got combative in the middle of your arraignment, so we had to move him back to his cell.
I also have a Mr. Reyes, one file left with him, and he was by mobile device. I'm not sure his status.
We would like to do both of those two mobile today, sir.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that, officer.
We would like to have both Reyes and Pruitt seen via mobile today, if that works for you, sir.
Yeah, I got a docket that starts in about 10 minutes, but I'm willing to move that docket a little bit if we can get both of those arraigned. I don't know, or we can do them after the docket, depending.
Whatever's easier for you, sir. I can have it set up in about 2 minutes, or we can wait.
All right, let's go ahead. So let's do Mr. Pruitt first, and then we'll do Mr. Reyes.
All right, on our way. Thank you.
All right. All right, I'm ready when you are in regards to, we can do Mr. Reyes or Mr. Pruitt.
We're doing Mr. Pruitt first per your request. Mr. Pruitt, if you can come up here, it's time for court, sir. What? It's time for court. You want to talk to the judge through here, please, sir?
All right, Mr. Pruitt, I'm going to arraign you in docket 22022739 and then in 22022490. In 22022739, you are Edric S. Pruitt. You are Edric Pruitt, sir. That's a yes? Okay. Counsel, your appearance for the record?
Yes, Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Mr. Pruitt at his arraignment this afternoon.
All right, I'm going to read the allegations of the misdemeanor complaint. This is a ticket on dot 2251909, 220939. It's alleged that on October 12th, 2022, at the offense location of South Pennsylvania, East Miller, that you, Edric Sylvester Pruitt, did trespass on property of another and remain, when told not to do so, in regards to City Ordinance 660.02. You have certain rights in this. The possible penalty for this is 90 days and or $100. You understand? Do you understand the nature of the allegations against you, sir? All right. You have the following misdemeanor rights in this misdemeanor case. You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses against you appear at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses against you. You are represented by Public Defender Luke Goodrich for purposes of this hearing. Mr. Goodrich, do you know if Mr. Pruitt plans to seek counsel in future hearings?
Your Honor, my office does typically represent Mr. Pruitt in all of his matters.
Okay. Sir, you have the right to have witnesses against you appear at trial, to question those witnesses against you, to have the court order any witnesses that you may have for your own defense. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right not to have that silence used against you, and you have the right to testify at trial if you choose. Your next date for a pre-trial in this trespass case is October 12th, 2022. In front of myself, Judge Flores. I can transfer any address, phone number, probation, or employment information in regards to the file, and I'll enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Mr. Goodrich, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor, but did the court state that the pretrial was 10/12?
10. If I did, I misstated. It's October 25th.
Okay. Your Honor, I would just point out that Mr. Pruitt has had a number of cases over the years that have gotten resolved. He didn't have any active files as of today prior to these two matters. These are certainly non-violent offenses, so we would ask the court to consider a PR bond or a low 10% bond. I am aware that he has had some failure to appears in the past, but we are hopeful he would appear this time.
Thank you. I'll set the following bond conditions in regards to this file. No alcohol use or drugs without a prescription. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. No possession of a firearm. And a report to pretrials. Well, I know it's a misdemeanor, so we don't have to. I do understand Mr. Pruitt has a history of fail to appear with the court. So I'm going to remand him for 21 days, and then he can seek PR. So it's 21-day PR. Yeah, $100 PR is fine. And then in regards to docket 22-02490, it's the second case involving Mr. Pruitt and trespass. I'll indicate that charge for the record. That on or about January 16th, I'm sorry, September 16th of 2022, at the offense location of 300 Mall Court, Morgan Lane, City of Lansing, Mr. Pruitt did commit the offense of trespass on property of another remain. That's the allegation. In regards to City Code 660.02, that's 90 days and or $100. Mr. Goodrich, you're here on this file for arraignment also?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Pruitt, you have some misdemeanor rights in this trial, so I'll read those to you. You have the right to have a trial. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have a right to have witnesses against you appear at trial. You have a right to have questions to question the witnesses against you. You, of course, are represented by Mr. Goodrich. Mr. Goodrich, similarly in this file, does the Public Defender's Office plan on representing Mr. Pruitt?
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
You have the right to have court order any witnesses that you may need for your defense. You have the right to remain silent during the trial, not to have the silence used against you, and you have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. Your next hearing on this date is similarly October 25th, 2022 at 9 a.m. in front of myself, Judge Flores. I will move over any phone number, address, probation, parole, or employment information, and I will automatically enter a not guilty plea at arraignment for this purpose. Mr. Goodrich, once again, would you like to be heard on bond?
Your Honor, I have no additional comments to what I stated previously. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The following conditions will be set if you're able to make bond. No use of alcohol or drugs, no assaultive behavior, no out-of-state travel, no possession of a firearm. There's no contact with the place that you're alleged to have trespassed, which would be the 300 Mall Court. Morgan Lane. And no firearm. Similarly, in regards to bond, the court obviously has a history with Mr. Pruitt in regards to fail to appear. So I will issue a 21-day remand and PR bond at $100 cash. So you can be PR bonded after 21 days, which should get you through the October pretrial date. I also have a collections file that we will administratively close in regards to 20 L2577381. I'm going to go ahead and administratively close that file. And that's all for the record on the two new misdemeanors and the collections files for Mr. Pruitt.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Reyes, could you come right over here, please, sir? If you talk through this, the judge can hear you better, right? Let me know if you can't hear him and I'll turn the volume up for it.
All right. Sir, I'm calling the record in docket 22-02742. You are Felix A. Reyes Jr.?
Yeah.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record?
Yes, Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Mr. Reyes at his arraignment this afternoon.
All right. This is the time set for arraignment. I'm going to read to you the allegations made in the misdemeanor complaint, and then I'll read you some rights you have in the misdemeanor file. It is alleged that on October 11th, 2022, at the offense location of North Cedar, Cesar Chavez, City of Lansing, Ingham County, that yourself, Felix Alberto Reyes Jr., did make an assault and/or assault and battery upon Sarah Sharma, an individual with whom he had a dating relationship, contrary to the laws of the state of Michigan, that being MCL 750.81 parents 2. Restitution could be ordered in this case if there's individual to property or physical injury to the person under MCL 780.811A. This is a misdemeanor, 93 days and/or $500. There may be a consecutive sentence imposed if this was committed in a place of confinement. You understand the nature of the charges brought against you, sir? I'm going to read you some rights you have in this misdemeanor case. You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses against you appear at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses against you. In this case, you are represented by Public Defender Luke Goodrich. Mr. Goodrich, do you have any information concerning whether Mr. Reyes is going to seek additional representation from your office?
Yes, he did inform me when I went in person to talk to him that he would like to have the assistance of the Public Defender's Office.
Okay. You have the right to have the witnesses questioned against you. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses that you may have for your defense. You have the right to remain silent during the trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you. You have the right to testify at trial if you choose to testify. You understand the nature of your misdemeanor rights in this case, sir?
Yes.
All right, your pretrial is set on November 1st, 2022 at 10 a.m. in front of Judge Ward. Do you have a current address for the court file?
No.
Okay. Do you have a phone?
No.
Okay.
I'm homeless.
Are you on probation?
Homeless.
Are you on probation? Are you on probation or parole?
No.
Are you employed, sir?
No. Come on.
I will enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Counsel, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, when I spoke with Mr. Reyes this morning, he mentioned that he was planning to go to the city rescue mission on East Michigan, but that he is currently homeless. Obviously, the shelter would be a temporary place for him. That he also informed me that he came into this area seeking employment, and he's been working on that. Your Honor, I would ask the court, this is a 93-day misdemeanor, to consider a PR bond or at least a very low 10% bond in this matter, to give him an opportunity to get released. Thank you.
Yes, please. I have to go to the mission and try to get a job and everything.
Thank you. This is so if the defendant's able to make bond, I'll indicate for the record that he's to have no use of alcohol or drugs, no assaultive behavior, no out-of-state travel, no contact with the victim in this case. The victim in this case is Sarah Sharma.
Is there any way I can get a restraining order against her?
That's a no contact. You can talk to your public defender about that.
Right.
No contact with Ms. Sharma. That's 1,500 feet. A complaining victim. No possession of a firearm. And I won't do the report 40 hours. This is not a felony for our purposes. I do have what appears to be an extensive CCH, out of state CCH in this case, from the state of Florida.
I'm done with Florida. I finished with Florida. Done everything with Florida. I don't have nothing on it.
That seems to be brunt of this that places. Mr. Goodrich, are you aware of that Florida criminal CCH?
I was not aware of what had gone on in Florida, but I will make a note to that effect.
Yeah, I'm. Well, with the pending CCH, it puts bond to be not an atypical issue in regards to Mr. Reyes and a domestic assault. I'm going to set bond for this matter at 5,000, 10%. Yeah, we might as well. We'll do a tether. I'll order tether, no content, and that'd be victim notification. Anything else for the record, Mr. Goodrich, in docket 22-02742?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, we're all set on that file to the jail. Mr. Reyes, you're all set.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's it. I think that's it. Thank you for your assistance today. Mr. Goodrich, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you for being so patient. My staff's just taking like a 5 to 10 minute break, and then we're gonna get on with our 2:30s. We just got done with arraignments. So Mr. Brown, you're here on your 4 cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then Mr. Horan, you're here for the 2:30 Anmark case?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right.
And Your Honor.
All right. Well, yes. As soon as everybody comes back in, we'll get started.
Your Honor, if I may be placed at the end, I actually have to hop into Judge Buchanan's courtroom really quick for one hearing, and I can come right
All
back
right.
after that.
All right. And then that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'll identify some of the other. On the Galaxy S20, can you identify yourself, ma'am?
Andrea Lingenfelter.
Andrea Ligenfelter.
Yes, sir.
And you're here for your 245. Is Donald Ligenfelter with you?
No, sir. He is at work.
Yeah, hold on. And with on the seller, the caller 517-652-9642. Can you identify yourself?
Yes, sir. This is Joshua Thomas for the case against Merle, or the McVeighs.
All right. You're the defendant in the McVeigh case.
Correct. Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I could I by any chance go into a breakout room with Miss Tillotson? only if she's not represented by legal services, which I don't have an appearance.
No, I'm not.
All right. All right, Ms. Slotson, would you be amenable to speaking with Mr. Brown in a breakout room?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna do this. So we'll see if it works.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Mr. Brown, you're in room 1 and Ms. Tolotson's in room 1.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Thomas, I'm going to call your case. We have all the parties present. This is on the record in docket 22-02406. And sir, you are Merle McVeigh?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you are Lori McVeigh.
I am.
This is the time set for a formal hearing. Sir, you are Joshua Thomas?
Correct.
All right, and Mr. Thomas, at the last hearing date on September 7th, I said everybody should show in person, and you're now on the phone.
Correct. Yesterday morning, I actually tested positive for COVID, and I called the courthouse, and they said to appear Zoom, and I tried to get on Zoom, and my Zoom's not working because of internet. So,
Are you represented by counsel today?
it would be by legal services.
Yeah, you met with legal services on September 7th, but they didn't file an appearance for you on your behalf.
Okay.
So what kind of contact have you been in with legal services to make you think that they're representing you today? Because I spoke with them this morning and they didn't have any appearances in any of the files.
I was, sorry about that. Both through email and over the phone. I want to say her name was Rebecca. I can't remember exactly.
All right, you have emails and over the phone that you could show the court? Because when I spoke to them, they indicated that they had one contact and then they had no other contact from yourself.
I've talked to, I'm trying to find her name here, but I've spoke to her multiple times, at least 3 times.
All right, and they are not representing you today, is that correct?
I mean, I thought for sure they were.
They told me this morning they were not.
Okay, so I suppose I need to get in touch with them.
Well, we have a hearing date set for a formal hearing today. And I guess what I'm willing to do today is I'm willing to take since we have the landlords here, I'm willing to take their proofs today concerning, I'll swear them in and have them testify as to the nature of their proofs. And that would give you a week to get a lawyer. We would set this for hearing next week.
Okay.
Are you contesting these non-payment allegations?
I would definitely. So their numbers are. I mean, all of it's incorrect. So.
Yeah, he was. I know. He said he said he reported to the court that to our court that he has COVID. We don't have any indication, sir, that you talked to the court and indicated from anybody here that you were under a COVID restriction. Who did you talk to at the court?
I called the actual number, and
who did you talk to?
I do
and
not.
What was the name of
know
the person you
gentleman.
talked to?
I do not know his name, but I know on my cell phone record I have the call just yesterday.
All right, let's do this. We'll start the hearing. All right. So I'm going to call to the record docket 2202406. Which one of you would prefer to testify in regards to the non-payment?
I shall.
All right, I'll swear you in right there. All right, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Thomas, I mean, you're obviously waiving your presence because you have COVID, and we're going to start the hearing. I'm going to have Ms. McVeigh testify, and then we'll go from there in regards to your representation. But since they are here, I think we should get matters on the record. So, Ms. McVeigh, I'm going to have you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Lori McVeigh, MC, D as in Victor.
And ma'am, go ahead and tell me why we're here today.
I found Joshua Thomas on a Craigslist as a maintenance man, and I had a previous tenant in the home.
All right, I'm gonna have who's ever to mute yourself, who's ever, because we're gonna do a quick hearing right now. All right, so did you enter into a contract with him?
Not a written contract, no. He
All
was throwing trash out on the house for me as far as his maintenance ad went. He did a wonderful job as we're located 3.5 hours north of here. And I really need a maintenance man, seeing we're senior citizens and disabled, so.
So did you enter into a landlord-tenant agreement with Mr. Thomas?
It was agreed upon and understood, but not in writing, that he was going to do that. He did not have a home and expressed interest in staying at the home.
So there was no written down contract?
Not a written signed contract, no. But he wrote those, and he wrote them, but if they weren't.
And what was the date that he started living in the home?
As early as mid-May.
So mid-May to
I'll give
mid-May.
it June 1st, how's that?
Okay, June 1st of 2021.
Correct.
And what was your understanding of the agreement?
The understanding the agreement that he was to pay $700 a month. All utilities, lawn, trash, the typical maintenance by someone that resided in the home.
All right, and the so as of June 20, it was $700 a month in utilities, right?
Correct.
And then what brought us here?
What brought us here is there was situations where he was going to be doing work at a family home of mine. My mother and brother died within a month, and I acquired this large home. And so I thought once he got that house done, he could move on to one in Linden Fenton area.
What? All right, and was he doing this work, in order to work off some?
Some rent. He said that he'd do it for rent and, in lieu of.
All right, what date was that?
Let's see. See the exact date of that, but we transferred.
Approximately July and August of 21 is when he started working on.
I have so many papers from.
Looking at the Fenton property.
All right, and I might have to take testimony from you, but it's all right. It's just that it makes it hard for the court recorder when she's trying to hear both of you talk. So when was the last full payment made? Or was there ever a full payment
I
made?
made payments to him from June 1st on until
And
the
what,
first of the year.
and what were your payment? So you were making payments to him,
For work to be rendered at some of our rental houses.
and so he still had the $700 obligation.
He did have this, he hasn't paid anything. I paid him in full for all of his services rendered to.
Okay, let's leave the services rendered out of it. I just want to know how much he owes in rent.
Where's the rent? $700. It was, he paid for 3 months.
So he's been in since June 2021.
He would not leave.
Okay,
He would not leave.
all right, and so.
Did not pay utilities. I got stuck with huge water, water and light bills, which I have here.
So June 2021 till this date.
Till. What is this? This is September that we got it out. I had to literally turn off his water to get him out of there, which I read was $100 a day. And he finally left. I couldn't get him out. I was paying all his utilities. I was paying my house payment. And he made promises, you know, and he's a nice young man and.
But he has not paid since June 2021.
We paid $1,000 in January, and then we had to pay $500 back next week because of utilities. So he's paid $500 this whole time.
And so, and that's through this date. That's through October, so October 12th.
I think he moved on September 1st, on or around September 1st.
He moved out?
Yeah.
So he's no longer in the residence?
Correct.
Okay. So this is all back rent owed?
Yes.
All right.
And utilities. And damage.
Do you have an accounting of how much he owes you?
Yes.
And what's your testimony concerning how much he owes you today?
Are we talking about rents?
Just
the
rent?
rent.
Yeah.
What we filed for in the original claim?
I have $11,200.
There you go. Plus utilities and damage.
But you're gonna have to itemize that for me. I just.
Right, we've got the utilities and damages here. To be added on to the rent.
The repairs that I've had to do when he left. I have pictures of the.
And when was so this was filed in August 7th of 2022. This eviction was filed. So the only thing he has is 30 days notice under the law, because there's no contract. Okay. All right.
He didn't go.
Right. I understand he's passed his 30 days. All right. I think I understand the nature of the allegations. Mr. Thomas, you do not have a lawyer today? And you've heard the allegations made by Ms. McVeigh?
I have heard the allegations, and I would like some time, if I may, Your Honor, to actually obtain an attorney from this point, since legal services is not representing myself or me.
All right,
sorry.
You have 1 week, sir. You have 1 week to get, I think 1 week to get a lawyer and 1 week for the hearing date. That's all I can give you. This was set for formal hearing on September 7th. You are on a termination of tenancy, which is a 30-day notice that has been met as of August 7th, is when you got the initial complaint and non-payment of rent. So the only thing I can do today is I've had Mr. McVeigh and Miss McVeigh indicate the numbers that they have in front of them. And then I'm willing to adjourn this for you to get a lawyer, but I'll adjourn it. It'll be set for hearing the same way that this is set for. And if you appear without counsel in the next proceeding, we'll just go forward with the rest of the proofs. Do you understand that?
Okay. I do understand. And just for correction of the record, I was moved out of that house on August 7th, the same day actually that I got the notice, because there was a notice prior in July also. And with speaking with them over the phone, they were.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, you'll have the opportunity to testify. You'll be here live, of course. You'll be in person when we reconvene, and you'll be in person with the lawyer you've indicated you plan to retain. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So that's live, and we'll set it for an afternoon hearing
Next Wednesday at 2:30.
next Wednesday.
No, that's our anniversary.
And we travel 3.5 hours each time we come here.
Would you? I can give him more time. I was doing earlier because
For anniversary of the time.
so we could do 2 weeks. Would 2 weeks suffice?
What would you want to do?
And it is what it is. I hear my numbers.
Let's do 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks. Wednesday of 2 weeks. Okay, so it'll be October 26th at 2:30. And that, Mr. Thomas, that should give you more than enough time to get representation and be prepared for hearing on that date. And we'll take more testimony on that date.
Yes,
And
sir,
that
I
will be,
appreciate it.
that's also in person, Mr. Thomas. So
Yes.
if
And I
you
understood that.
appear again by
Or-
Zoom, it'll be a problem.
Yeah, and I do apologize again for the miscommunication, but I did call yesterday and it was right around noon and they told me to appear this way. So
All right.
I am sorry
Well,
for the miscommunication, but I will be there in person Wednesday, the 26th.
all right, October 26th at 2:30, we'll reconvene this hearing in this courtroom at 2:30. So that's all for the record docket 22-02406.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a nice day.
Mr. Brown, did you have the opportunity to meet with Ms. Tillotson?
I did, Your Honor. We have a proposed consent agreement to put on the record.
Perfect. Let's see if I can find that file. So we're on the record in docket 22-1790. That is Devin Homick versus Tawny Tillotson. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record?
Yes, Attorney Chris Brown representing plaintiff.
And ma'am, you're Tawny Tillotson? And you'll have to unmute yourself, ma'am.
Sorry about that. Tawny Tillotson, yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Brown, you had the opportunity to speak with Ms. Tillotson in a breakout room. It's my understanding that something came out of that meeting?
That is correct, Your Honor. May I put the terms on the record?
Yes.
Have a proposed consent judgment in this matter, Your Honor. The rent that's now currently due and owing through the end of the month of October is $5,925, together with court cost of $239.44. Ms. Tillotson has until October the 31st to pay the total amount of $6,164.44 or to move out. And that partial payment would not prevent that writ from being issued. In addition, if and when Ms. Toddleson does move out, a money judgment will enter in this matter for the prorated amount of rent through today's date, today being October the 12th. The prorated amount of rent is $5,204.84, together with a court cost of $239.44, equals a total money judgment amount of $5,444.28. Thank you.
Okay. The only number I need for you to repeat is the money judgment prorated is
$5,204.84.
Perfect. Ms. Tillotson, is that your understanding of the proposed consent judgment?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Mr. Brown, you will follow this up with an order depending on the move out date or the prorated money amount date?
Yes, I'll submit a consent judgment to the court probably tomorrow.
Okay, all right. And Ms. Tillotson, did you hear anything that Mr. Brown said which was different than what came out of the meeting?
No, sir.
All right. Anything else for the record, docket 2201790, Mr. Brown?
Nothing at all. Thank you.
Ms. Tillotson, anything?
No, sir.
All right, you're all set. Thank you for your appearance today, and the court will await an order to catch up with the file.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Mr. Brown, you're here on docket 221791. That's Raz Bucher and Angela Ball.
That's correct.
All right, let's go ahead and call that for the record. So we're on the record in docket 221791. That's Raz and Bucher LLC versus Angela Ball. Would the parties please introduce themselves for the record?
Yes, Attorney Chris Brown representing plaintiff.
And this was set for a formal hearing at 2:30 for Ms. Ball. It is now 3:11. I have my notes indicated that this was placed on formal hearing, that there was an attempt for the defendant to make payments concerning this matter. And then some resolution was attempted. Mr. Brown, how do you want to proceed today? It appears the defendants failed to appear.
Requesting a default judgment be entered for non-appearance for both possession and money through today's date.
Okay. So defendants failed to appear. There was initial personal service. We were set for formal hearing at least to September 7th to today's date of October 12th for the formal hearing. The defendants failed to appear. So the default judgment is granted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
For possession and money damages. And you will submit an order?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, that's all for the record in docket 221791. And then we still have, you've still got two 245s. Mr. Brown, I don't know if I don't know. We only, one, Mr. Holt, I don't see here. Miss Liggenfelter is here. But those are 245, and I'm going to go ahead and call Mr. Horan's file for the 230 slot.
Understood, Your Honor. I've already met with Ms. Liggenfelter. We have a proposed consent judgment when you're done with that.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect. So I'm going to call to the record docket 2201-378. That's Anmark Rivershell versus Mike Gaston. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Danny Horn, P81774 for the plaintiff.
And this is the time set for a formal hearing and a non-payment. The landlord tenant indicated that Mr. Gaston is not present. This was set for 2:30. It is now 3:14. Just a note that defendant failed to appear on July 27th. There was a previous fail to appear, and then that's why we set it for today. Defendant has failed to appear today. Mr. Horn, how would you like to proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. We would request a possession-only default judgment at this time. I'm happy to put the numbers on the record for you.
All right, just judgments. All right, when you're ready, Mr. Horn.
Thank you. Rent to retain, $17,631.28. Costs, $166.50. The total, $17,797.78. Writ date of October 24th, 2022.
And you'll follow up with an order to that effect?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So defendants failed to appear. It's 45 minutes late. It's 2:30, 3:15. 2:30 docket call, 3:15 is the time. So default judgment is granted for possession, and I'll await your order to make its way to the file, Mr. Horn. Anything else on 2201-378?
I would just ask, is Judge Flores courtroom at Lansing, Michigan, mi.gov the correct one to send it to?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That does it for plaintiff.
All right. Thank you. You're all set, Mr. Horn.
Take care, everyone.
And Mr. Brown, did you want to put Mr. Holt's file on the record?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So we're on the record in docket 2201-792. That is Raz and Bucher LLC versus Paul Holt. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record?
Attorney Chris Brown representing plaintiff.
All right, and this is the time set for a formal hearing that was scheduled at 2:45. I don't see Mr. Holt in the Zoom courtroom, and he is not in the physical courtroom. So I'm going to indicate that the defendants failed to appear at formal hearing. And Mr. Brown, how would you like to proceed?
Requesting a default judgment for possession only. I believe no one appeared at any of the hearings, and service was by posting.
All right. Yeah, I do have service by attachment. Did you have any numbers that you wanted to put on the record?
Yes, Your Honor. The rent that's due and owing to the end of the month of October is $1,793.90. Court costs $220.38. Total requested possession judgment amount of $2,014.28.
$0.28. All right, and you're going to follow that up with an order, Mr. Brown?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else for the record in this file 2201-792, Mr. Brown?
Nothing at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's all for the record in that file. And then we have docket 22-01793. That is Raz and Bucher versus Andrea Ligenfelter and Donald Ligenfelter. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record?
Attorney Chris Brown representing plaintiff.
And ma'am, you are Andrea Ligenfelter?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is the time set for a formal hearing today. Mr. Brown, how are we proceeding?
I have a proposed consent judgment that I'd like to put the terms on the record, if I could, Your Honor.
Yes, please proceed.
The rent that's now owing through the end of the month of October is $3,300, together with court costs of $244.05. A requested possession judgment amount of $3,544.05. The defendants would have until the end of the day on October the 31st to either pay that amount of money or to move out, hopefully to pay. Also, a money judgment to enter with the prorated amount of rent through today's date is $2,794.36, together with court cost of $244.05. Requested money judgment amount of $2,794.36. Requesting that consent judgment as to Andrea and by default as to Donald. It should be also noted, Your Honor, and not a part of the judgment, but Ms. Ligenfelter has informed me that she has mailed a $1,000 payment. We just have not received it yet. That is not reflected in this judgment, and once we receive it, obviously we'll apply it to the judgment. Thank you.
And I'll indicate that for the court's file, and it's on the record, that Andrea Ligenfelter indicates that she has made $1,000 payment that's not reflected because it hasn't been received yet.
Correct.
I also have indicated for the file that this is a consent judgment as to Andrea Ligenfelter that is a default as to Donald Ligenfelter, who is not present. Is that correct, Mr. Brown?
That's correct, Your Honor, and I'll submit that judgment.
All right. Ms. Ligenfelter, is there anything that was said today that wasn't spoken to or is not a part of your understanding of the meeting with Mr. Brown?
No, sir. Everything was discussed.
All right, thank you. Then I'll wait your order to catch up with the file. Mr. Brown, anything else for the record in docket 22-01793?
Nothing at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's it. That's it, Mr. Brown. Ms. Ligenfelter, you're all set.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Day. What a
That
day.
background noise, I couldn't listen to it for years. I'm like, yeah, no.
That was her, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think she's at work.
It's through the earphones anyway.
Yeah.
It's super duper loud and at a pitch that dogs would not like.
That McVeigh case, you feel bad for them, but they're what a mess, both parties.
She said, don't forget to log off the YouTube. Who knows what we're rebroadcasting tonight.